He is the head coach at Texas State. They play Saturday in Waco, McLean Stadium, against Dave Aranda and Baylor. G.J. Kinne, Texas State head coach with Paul Catalina, Craig, and David Smoak. G.J., young man, and I always will refer to you as young man. Thanks for your time. How are you, where are you on the timeline of where you need to be from when you took over to the August workouts to a game week?
Yeah, I think, these guys, obviously we recruited them and did the summer workouts with them. Their little vacation, came back for fall camp, had a good fall camp, and I think now they're probably ready to hit someone besides their teammates.
You have a team that is loaded with transfers, guys that are new. You're new. What are the unique challenges of bringing together a team in a short amount of time, relatively from the time you got the job to the time you kick off, and building that chemistry, a bunch of guys who have not been at the same place together and are trying to figure each other out?
Yeah, I think the chemistry part has gone really well. I think guys are, playing for each other, and they're starting to, figure that out. It's just, we had that first fall practice, and it was like, man, these guys have never practiced. A lot of these guys have never even practiced with us before. So it was a situation where we had to, teach them how we practice, and then obviously you had to teach them the scheme and all that kind of stuff. So, it is a unique challenge going into week one. Obviously, playing an opponent like Baylor is probably not ideal, but it's it is what it is, and our coaches have done a great job, and our players are up for the challenge.
What's the balance of excitement, nervousness, and whatever other emotions you have, getting ready to go and coach your first game with this program, and also knowing, hey, GJ, football's back after a very long wait?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Got some week 0 action last weekend. Got to watch some Saturday night games, and that was college football's back. That's always fun. I'm excited. I'm not necessarily excited yet. I'm not a guy that gets overly up or down, but I think these guys are ready to go. I think we have to have another really good week of practice, and because for us every practice, every meeting is so valuable for us right now, and I think these guys are excited, and they're excited to play a Big 12 team and a Big 12 opponent and a Big 12 stadium, and because everyone knows what Baylor has this year, they're going to be really good.
So your brother's on the Baylor team. How unique is that?
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a situation where you get the job and you look, hey, we played Baylor week 1. Obviously my dad going there, my sister graduated from there. Obviously out of respect for Landry and Coach Aranda and really just, the whole Baylor organization. Me and Landry really haven't talked, in a while, really since fall camp started, maybe like, hey, everything good, one of those type deals. So, it'd be good to see him out there on game day and shake his hand before and after. And I know he loves Baylor and loves everything they're doing over there.
Then you could talk again like normal people. That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly.
when you're not competing. You also, with transfers, also comes experience, maybe a little bit more maturity. I know that's not an easy blanket statement to throw across the board, but have you found that this is a team, because you have a lot of seniors and juniors that are more mature and able to take things a little bit faster?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I think that was, really the plan coming into year one. Obviously, we won't do this again next year. Since I've gotten the job, I've talked about recruiting Texas High School, and that's what we're going to do. And we've already got, a bunch of commits already for this next class. But, I just thought for us, when I got the job, you lost a lot of guys to graduation. You lost a lot of key quality players to the portal that ended up leaving before, really I was announced. So, I think, I do not enjoy losing. So I wanted to get as many good players as possible and really get those momentum going and get some quality players in here. And I think with the type of scheme we run on offense and defense, we were able to, and really Texas State, the location, all that, you're able to attract some really good players. And you, like you said, some experienced players as well. That was kind of one thing I learned last year when I was at UIW. And, previously at UCF, when this portal can be a little challenging. And for me, I'm always starting with, hey, can I find someone with production? Is that FCS, FBS, whatever? Right? Has he played before? And that's really where we started. And we're able to get some guys that have played a lot of meaningful snaps in some big-time games. So I think that's always a positive.
GJ, you had one of the country's best offenses at any level in college football last year, the top offense, the FBS, FCS level. You've been a lot of different places, and I'd imagine had a lot of different influences. How would you best describe, the GJ Kinne, Texas State-led offense, and what were maybe some of the big, moments or influences along the way that helped develop that to what it's becoming now?
Yeah, I think I get a lot of credit. I think we have a really good staff as well, and they do a really good job. Mac Liflitz, our OC, and Jordan Shoemaker, our O-line coach, run game coordinator, Will Bryan, Eric Stevens, Craig Stutzman. We got some really good coaches, and we got Lindsey Scott now on the staff over here. That was my quarterback last year at UIW. So got a bunch of really good coaches. But I think for me, really starts obviously with my dad and when he got that job at Canton, we're going over there and running a spread offense. That was kind of my first introduction to it. And then going to play for Jeff, learning kind of a new spread, Jeff Traylor, and now at UTSA. And then, I played for Gus Malzahn, Mike Norvell, Chad Morris. And then you go to the NFL with Chip Kelly and Ryan Day was with me in 15 and a bunch of really good coaches. Doug Peterson, back when we coached in 2019, I was on his staff. So just a bunch of really good coaches that I probably just picked up some stuff here and there from all of them. And then even coaches that didn't even teach me. A lot of the stuff that we do on offense right now is when I went back to UCF in 2021 with Gus. Dylan Gabriel was our quarterback, and Josh Heupel had been the head coach at UCF previously, and so Gus told me, "Hey, get in there and figure out what Dylan is comfortable with, and we're going to run some of that stuff." So I went in there with Dylan and Daryl Wyatt and sat in there and learned a lot of this vertical choice, wide split stuff, and really fell in love with it. And thought, hey, if I ever get the opportunity to really do this is what we're going to do. And me and Coach Leftwich last year kind of sat down and combined a lot of the stuff that they had done previously at UIW and the stuff that I wanted to do offensively with the wide splits and a lot of Gus's run game, and kind of built something that we were really proud of last year and hope to continue here at Texas State.
How often do the names you just mentioned that have been a part of your career and you with them and vice versa, playing or coaching with them, how often do you guys trade texts? Do you have time for that once the season begins?
Yeah, I would say, off season more with the NFL guys. And then, I still speak with Gus quite often, Coach Traylor quite often. Obviously, my dad, Chad Morris, talked to him a couple of times. Todd Graham, talked to him a couple of times. So, yeah, Norvell, more about recruiting probably. So, we still keep in touch. I would say I talk to Jeff and Gus the most, though.
All right, you mentioned how wide open you are, and a lot of times people think of that just as hair on fire, and it is, but the running game is critical, spreading the wide receivers as far as you can. I remember when Browse did that about a decade ago, but now you have this new clock. Did you pay much attention? It doesn't seem like there are as many plays in a game based on the new rules. Is that something that you've kind of had any focus on?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously I wasn't necessarily a fan of that, being an offensive guy, but at the same time, it is what it is, and it's the rule. And I think you saw a little bit of the data from week one, but I think we'll get some more information. And I don't think it'll affect things too much, but you never know.
You guys run a lot of plays anyway, so is it just maybe about adjusting right now at the end of halves what you might have been used to?
Yeah. I think I would say so. Like I said, I think the more data we get, the more games you kind of play under this new clock management deal and clock rules, that you'll get a better feel for it. Not too different from like an NFL either with the way the clock goes. So we'll get some more information and go with it.
So, GJ, obviously Baylor had some changes this year on defense and, you know, a couple of different coaching staff changes as well, but particularly the shift to Matthew Powledge from last year and bringing him back into the fold. You know, how does that kind of change things? You go watch Oregon tape, you watch old Baylor tape, I would imagine as well, but just kind of what do you see in general when you look at this Baylor team that's very much trying to, you know, flip the script from a year ago?
Yeah, I think you watch a little bit of everything. It's always one of the first game. You know, I've been part of staff that hardly watch anything because you don't want to, you know, get too schemy for a team. You don't really know what they're going to do. And then I've been part of staffs where you're watching, you know, 6 years worth of tape and you're going out there and you don't really know what they're going to do still at the end of it. So I think for us, obviously we've exhausted the tape and done as much research as possible. But I think for us, you know, with so many new guys, is really focusing on our execution and giving them, you know, the adequate looks. But I think it's more about us than kind of what is being presented.
You played the quarterback position. Would you rather know now if you were the starter or not? Because I traded a text with you earlier. You have some tremendous talent in that quarterback room, and you haven't yet made that decision. Is that just playing a little bit of games, or is you just don't know?
I think probably a little bit of both. You know, we'll probably tell those guys before we play. But, you know, those guys will get the reps that they need throughout the week to go out there and perform at a high level and kind of see what happens and see who goes out there. And you know, I think for us, it's just there's so much newness and year one. You want to make sure you got the right guy.
Well, they're both pretty different, though, right? In what their skill sets are?
Yeah, well, way different.
So is that like you see what your offense can maybe do a little bit more of before you can throttle down on who it is?
Yeah, I think so. I think figure out, you know, what we're good at and kind of go out there and obviously Malik has a certain skill set and TJ has a certain skill set and we know what those guys are good at. We feel like we have a pretty good idea of that. So it'll be something that, you know, I think especially early on teams are going to have to prepare for, is really two different styles of offenses.
GJ, I know you got other things to do besides talking to us. We always appreciate it. Dave Aranda mentioned that he played against you. Is that right? When he was a player?
No, he was a coach.
Oh.
I believe he's referring to the Hawaii Bowl in 2010.
Okay.
He was the DC at Hawaii when I was the quarterback at Tulsa.
So what about and Craig mentioned they've made changes, Matthew Powledge, but just what your thoughts are on what Dave Aranda has accomplished and the kind of coach he is?
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Coach Aranda, and, you know, our receiver coach, Craig Stutzman, knows him very well, and you know, they're family friends. They work together, and you know, I got a lot of respect for Coach and just really the way he runs the program and the way he carries himself and how intentional he is. So, and, you know, I got you know, my brother's on the team, so it's one of those situations where, you know, he tells, you know, obviously before we played him, but it's one of those situations like, hey, this is, you know, this guy's really, you know, he treats me really well, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, from my brother to say that means a lot. And I know he treats him very well. So, yeah, just have a lot of respect for Coach and the way he runs his programs and the success that he had, you know, obviously already at Baylor.
Last thing, you coached, you mentioned Gus Malzahn at UCF, and they're moving to the Big 12 effective this year, and they seem to be pretty much ready for it, not just completely pumped for it as well. Your thoughts about them moving into a Power 5? It seems like they could be ready for this.
You stole a question there, the UCF. I like that. You know, that was good. I'm a huge fan of what those guys do over there, and I think for the people in the Big 12 and all that are kind of what UCF's about. You know, Gus has coached in the SEC for so long. So when we got to UCF, he kind of had that same mindset of recruiting like the SEC, and we were able to get a bunch of really good players, and there were some really good players already on the roster. And you're in Florida, that, you know, so you're able to recruit your state very hard. And I think them going to the Big 12, having a year now to recruit, saying, hey, you're going to play in the Big 12, really helped those guys, really boosted recruiting, and you know, I think their quarterback's super talented. I think that running back room is really, really talented. So, I think they're going to be able to make some noise and he'll keep recruiting at a high level. And I think UCF is going to be a big time player in the Big 12 this year.
All right, buddy. Thank you for your time, GJ. Always remember Canton Gilmer at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium when you guys shocked the world, and yet it really wasn't an upset because you were that good. Thanks for your time. Good luck. We'll see you this weekend.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. GJ Kinne, head football coach at Texas State, seems to